Hi guys, today I find myself at the Royal Enfield Australian launch of the Classic 350, new 4-bike range from Royal Enfield. Here we've got the bottom of the range Halcyon, that comes in at $7,990 right away. Moving up to the Signals, bit of an army look, $8,290 right away. The Dark, which has got cast wheels rather than the spoked wheels, at $8,690. And we move up to the top of the range, Chrome, at $8,790. Now they make use of the 349cc single engine, moving back to the roots of what Royal Enfield became famous for. It uses the J platform that we've got used to in the Meteor. So a 350cc single Royal Enfield doesn't sound out of the ordinary, does it? Well, we took them out today and they were a lot different to what you might be used to from a 350cc Indian single. Let's have a look. And away we go. Royal Enfield Chrome Classic 350 I'm on the official Australian launch through sort of the centre middle sort of outer skirts of Melbourne, around Mickleham, which used to be a dry old parched nothing land, and clearly it's become beautiful vineyard country. So the gentrification and changes around our capital cities continues. So this bike kind of suits where I am here, no doubt about that. This sort of 80k running through flowing sort of quiet B roads, if you like, I've got a feeling just might suit this thing, but let's find out the hard way. And there'll be no racing, and if there is, it won't be very quick. So first impressions, we were told by Mel Jarrett, who's one of the honchos there at Royal Enfield Australia and our major contact, that there's a sweet spot on this bike at around 80 kilometres an hour, and that's true. 80 or 90, it's actually quite responsive. Above that gets a bit buzzy, no doubt about that. It's a bit vibey. It's a much better engine than the old Bullet 500 is, I can say that, there's no doubt about it. It's a lot more linear and it seems to allow you to pick up a rev range and go. It's quite tractable. I'm a bit surprised by that. It seems like a sweet motor. A lot of people used to say that the Enfield's at its best at 350ccs. And this is just kind of a return to the real heartland of Royal Enfield. I'm on the Chrome here, which is one of the 4 varieties, and I think the one I like the best. I'll run through those for you a bit later. But first impressions, gearbox is very changeable and very easy. They used to be a bit of a bag of spanners. Just first impression is a little more refined than we're used to from kind of entry-level retro modern motorcycles, and Royal Enfield really is one of the few manufacturers globally that operates in that small capacity retro realm. In fact, it really has owned it for a long time, and this bike indicates that it's really part of its range is definitely going back to its roots. Now, if it was going to do that, it had to improve the whole shebang as far as I'm concerned. Suspension was rudimentary, the engines were harsh and vibey, and build quality was questionable, let's be honest. Now so far, and very early days, so I'm not, don't take it to the bank, but this is a much better engine and nice comfortable seating position. It's fun, and that's what I'd be looking for, fun. Now the boys here, they'll make out like it's not a race and everyone will be calm, and then a bit of red mist will descend and there's a fair chance we might get up them a bit. But what a fun thing for all to be on the similar capacity, small bike. You know, you have to ride them well to make them go. I'm going uphill now at 90 and it's at 3/4 throttle. It's not even trying. So, yeah, quite surprising for a 350 single. Go figure. I really like that instrument binnacle here. I love this sort of policeman's hat look here, and it really is lovely old school. I was just looking down there and I was getting an indicated 100 and very happily sitting on that indicated 100. Now there's a good chance that's something more like about 95, but I'm surprised. Like I was expecting to have to work its ring piece off at that speed, and it's not. It's nicely finished. It's probably not what Enfield's been really known for, but I love that little retro feel of that front end while it's still staying truthful to what it is. Here there's a turn-by-turn trip system we can plug and play, so that's retrofittable subsequent of purchase, and that's just hooks out. It has all the necessary female plugs, the male plugs to it, and you're away. So the global chip shortage hasn't helped there, unfortunately, but yeah, you can get that retrofitted. I think that's a nice touch, a little turn-by-turn GPS system. I mean, people are relying on that, and for a bike that really is entry-level price and quite austere by its very nature, that's pretty cool. So I'm sure that the Royal Enfield folk will look after you as soon as they come back through that chip shortage, which will happen. The world might return to some form of damn equilibrium and we can get on with it. So this is nice in this corner. I just drop it here and sit on it. There's no rowing. It's quite comfortable just holding that line, and gives me a chance to look around and, I don't know, old school motorcycling. You know, what's wrong with you? It's grouse. I'm an old school motorcyclist, and the older I get, the more this type of riding appeals to me. Who will it bring? Well, it's, you know, they're Lambs approved. Of course they are. So they can appeal to probably your mod set. Pretty groovy. You're not going to get embarrassed pulling up in, you know, in Thornbury on this bike, and you know, you haven't had to up your hex debt too much. Further to that, old tossers like me will love them. So there's a few of us left, and we're not dead yet. So I think there's either end of the market. If you're a rocket ship freak, this is never going to appeal to you. But you know, you're not target market. So you know, move on, son. All right. Now I'd like a little bit more brake. It's a little under braked. There's a front single disc. Stops all right, but not brilliantly. And of course, with that plush front end, it dives in a bit. Brakes, yeah, 6.5, 7 out of 10. Not overly impressed. Suspension is tested on this stuff. It's quite lumpy, quite jumpy, and not a lot of damping. So it's letting me know where its limits are suspension wise. Quite choppy, very plush at the front, so it's light on your shoulders, light on your arms, but quite choppy. What you would expect for, you know, a pretty rudimentary setup. But yeah, that old Enfield suspension chop hasn't gone away. Now here's some twisties. Woohoo! Get it on a lean and power out. Now this is the sort of stuff you can have a bit of a dip, because these are quite tight corners, and look, anyone can ride a big fast bike fast. I've always admired people that could ride a small capacity motorcycle reasonably quick. So twisties like that, part of the game. Climbing a hill, watch that needle. It's not bad, is it? We go to top now. Oh yeah, she's working hard now. Bit of a wet track now. It's that shiny LP record kind of surface that you got to keep an eye on. So we're just you know, a little bit outside its comfort zone, this, but you're not going to set any world records, and probably a true test of the bike. The bike will globally be used in bad weather. It will sell into third world economies at a very competitive price, and conditions are not always perfect, so probably good getting a little bit of rough condition for the beastie. So the new 350 Royal Enfield, the word that comes to mind is fun, relaxed fun. It's not wonderful at anything except being very reasonably priced, but it's not dynamically brilliant by any means. No one would expect that. I didn't. It's better than I expected. It's a far more tractable engine, and the fit and finish is a step above what I've become used to from our friends in India. But it's just fun. I'm trundling about and I've got no interest in going home, and I'm doing bugger all speed. It's just a different type of motorcycling. When you tune into that, the Enfield becomes eminently sensible. Where else I think it would be great if I lived in town or around town, inner Melbourne, and I was zapping about, because you can pull up on a bike like this and still look kind of cool. You haven't spent a fortune. You're not riding some unknown scooter from some hellhole. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's cool, it's cheap, and it's fun. It's dynamically challenged a bit. It's a little down home, but fun. Okay, so I hope you've really enjoyed our video of our day with the classic 350. Don't forget to subscribe and keep an eye out for the next video. No, that's bullshit. Don't forget to subscribe, stick with MOTO. We bring the latest and greatest every time. I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Enfield singles over the years. I actually rode one through India, Bhutan and Nepal. Now, admittedly it was an older 500 bullet, but I could have quite easily set fire to it. Such was the nature of its handling and rudimentary, pre-war it felt like, build. Now that may have tarnished me a little bit. I was pretty tired. It was a long trip. This is a whole different kettle of fish. Of course, it's a new bike. The engine's way better and the finish is way better, and I'm not riding through India, I guess, and it's not boiling hot, and I haven't eaten some cooked food and stayed in some pretty ordinary accommodation, so that may have something to do with my opinion. But this thing's a much better motor than I remember, a much better engine than I remember from Royal Enfield, much more of the moment, so I'll give it credit for that. And let's forget that horrible bullet that I had in India that hopefully someone ceremoniously threw off a cliff.